1 year ago, I joined the band that I'm currently in, and when I joined, I had to learn 94 songs in 1 month. And from the time of my audition to the time of my first gig, I was given the set list, 94 songs. I was told, good luck, we'll see you at the first gig. And I was able to learn all 94 songs, go and play that first gig confidently, without looking at an iPad, fully engaged with the audience. And the reason I say this is because I've had a couple people reach out and say, I have to learn a ton of songs on a tight timeline. I have to learn 10 songs in 5 days, or I have to learn 20 songs in 7 days, whatever the case may be. What should I do? And I'm just going to describe what I do in 11 steps. I have them written on my iPad here in this video, so that if that's something that you're trying to do, you can take how I've done it and maybe apply it for yourself. I don't like to generalize and say, like, this is how you can do it, because maybe it won't work for you, but the majority of people that I've shared this with have really found a lot of success with it. And what you'll find as I talk through this video is that steps 1 through 6 are really crucial, steps that a lot of people don't do when they're song mapping and learning a ton of songs for a gig. Because they don't do the first 6 things I'm going to go over in this video, they feel very frantic. And a lot of what works in this, and you'll see this as I jump into it, is relieving your mind of that pressure of when you're not practicing, of feeling frantic, like you need to always listen to the songs. For me, I don't like to always listen to the songs. Hot take, I don't like to be feeling like I'm cramming everything when I'm driving places. I think it's really important for me to learn when I'm learning, take a break when I'm taking a break, come back to it when I'm coming back to it. I don't want to be thinking about it all the time. For me, it gives me a feeling of being like frantic. Again, might be a hot take. Some people might not agree with that, but this has worked for me, and I was able to learn 94 songs in a month and go play them and feel good about it. So, you know, that's my 2 cents. But what I'm getting to is, I would not skip around this video if you're actually looking to get something from this. The reason that these 11 steps work is because of the stuff that is set up in steps 1 through 6 that most people don't talk about or do, from what I've seen. I'm sure there are people who do it, but I haven't seen many people talk about this stuff. It's a little bit boring. Again, this is really a video for folks who are trying to get something out of it. It's not really like meant to be like an entertaining video. If it is, that's great. But the first 6 steps are the reason that steps 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 work for me. So I'm going to tell you what I do. I'm going to show you everything so you can just copy and paste it if you want to. And if you don't and you're just watching for fun, that's totally fine. Get comfy, grab a snack. We are going to jump right in. So step 1 that I do whenever I have to learn a ton of songs is I make this Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to show you on this camera. All this spreadsheet is, as you could see, is what the song names are. Oops, let's scroll up. What the song names are, who the artist is, what key the song is in, and the song map. This is just an example, but I tried to include about 94 songs. It looks like it's like 96, so that you can kind of see like what I was doing when I joined the band at the time that I joined like a year ago. This is a really boring and crucial step. The reason is, we're starting to set, I like to set myself up so that I can see everything in one place, and this is going to help the rest of the steps that follow. So that's step number 1, very simple. Step number 2 is I make a calendar showing, literally like this, from the day that today is to the day of my gig, how much time do I have, and I just draw it like that. The reason I do that is similar to step number 1, and you'll see what I do with this shortly. It's not just this simple. There's a method to this madness for me. If I have a week, I want to see that on paper so I can start doing the math that you're going to see in the following steps. And there's a lot of crucial things that go into seeing it on paper, so I'm not thinking while I'm away from this stuff, how many days do I have? These early steps set me up in a way that I don't have to be thinking about this when I'm not around it. I know what's happening because I've digested it seeing it on paper, but this is just the ground floor. You'll see where this is going in a second. Step 3 is to make a Spotify playlist with all the songs on it. Again, this is not to listen to them like all of the time. You'll see what we do with that in a minute. But the caveat to making this playlist is this. If you have songs that have different song structures than they normally are, like for instance, our band plays like Sugar We're Going Down Swinging. We don't play the full song. I think we do verse, chorus, chorus, for instance. In a situation like that, I'm not going to listen to the song on Spotify. The reason being is if we're playing it differently, I don't want to be listening to it in my free time in the song structure that's different from how we're playing it. So, making a Spotify playlist with the songs that are in normal, song structures, like if they're the full song, go for it. That's how I do it. But what I'll do is I will go into Ableton or any other like editing software. There's a million out there. That's a whole other video. But there's a bunch of free ones as well. And I will edit the song so it matches the song structure. So if it's verse, chorus, chorus, I will make that song in Ableton. And again, the goal here is not to be like listening to it. So I don't bring like my laptop with me when I go places. It's just to set up myself for the future and the rest of these steps. So that's step number 3. Step number 4 is to save all those songs, save the set list, and know that I just have them there. And then step number 5 is to now take this calendar, right, coming back to step number 2, and do the backwards math equation of how many songs I need to map and learn a day from today leading up to my gig. So for this example, this is how I did it. I had 28 days, we'll call it, and I had 94 songs. So if we do some math here, I have my calculator, 94 songs divided by 28 days equals 3.35 songs per day. Now, this is what I do. I don't like to be learning songs. If I have a lot of time like this, 3/4 of the amount of time from today to the gig, I like to be learning the songs. So for instance, in this case, that would be 3 weeks ahead of the gig that I'm learning the songs, leaving the last week for just rehearsal, working out any kinks. If this was a week, I would probably do 5 days to learn the songs, the last 2 days to do the kinks and kind of run everything through once. You kind of get the gist there of how I think of it in my head. Again, I don't want to be learning new material that last week if I can avoid that. That gives me a feeling of anxiety, and I don't want to go into the gig, the week of the gig especially, like not knowing the material and knowing there's more songs to learn. So bear with me. So we're going to take 21 days and start playing with this math now. So we're going to do 94 songs divided by 21 days, because that's 3 weeks. So now, instead of learning 3.5 songs a day, it just became 4.5. The rule of thumb I like here is to always round up to the next number. So it's 5 songs a day. The reason I round up to is because there might be a day that you get sick, or I get sick. Or there might be a day that, I don't know, I have some birthday party or my fiance drags me to go do something and it pulls me away from this, and maybe I didn't get to learn all 5 songs, but I'm ahead of schedule because I rounded up to learning 5 songs a day. That should make sense. So now I know, okay, for these 3 weeks, I need to learn 5 songs a day. This last week is just for rehearsing, going through the kinks. I'll get to that step in the future. But all we need to know right now is that I need to learn 5 songs a day. Next, we're on step 6. This is now going back to this song list. You'll see what I'm going to do with this now. So now that we know that I have to learn 5 songs a day. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to highlight the first 5 songs just like this, and I'm going to color them a random color. We'll just do that. That's fine. And I'm going to do the next 5 songs, and I'm going to color them like this, and I'll make it another random color. And I will do this 5 by 5 by 5. I'm going to stop on this one because you get the gist after that. I do that all the way down. This is extremely crucial for me as well, because now when I'm going in day by day, I know today I have to learn these 5 songs, and when I'm done, I can check them off, and I like to turn them green when I'm done with that. And then I would do the same thing the next day and make it all the same color. This is another one of those things that for me gives me mental peace, if you will, because I can see all in one place, color coded, what songs I need to learn, where am I at, and day by day how I'm going through this. So something that's really important about this step too is once I color code all these in groups of 5, I like to go through and make sure that I don't have a day that's much harder than another day. So for instance, if I have 5 songs to learn and 4 of the songs are like 8-minute songs with crazy song structures and, maybe like Bohemian Rhapsody and a bunch of other songs that are like that, what I'm going to do is move them around so that I have more even days in terms of difficulty or length of songs. I try to avoid days where I have 5 really easy songs, so it just flies by. And I like to try to avoid days where I have 5 really hard songs. That kind of up and down feeling while I'm learning songs gives me a lot of anxiety too, because then some days I might be struggling with the 5 songs that I'm dealing with. So I just like to look through them and see if any of them, like if there's like 3 in a row that are real brutal for some reason, I'll move them around so that the groups of 5 make more sense in that way. That's a really crucial step in this for me. So now, moving on to step 7. So steps 1 through 6, again, that's just setting everything up. I now know all the songs I need to learn. I now have a calendar that's showing me, okay, these are my learning days. This week is my rehearsal week. I'm good there. I don't have to worry about that. I have my songs chopped up. I have them in Spotify. I have them in Ableton. I'm good. And now the fun begins. So we'll start as if it's day 1 for me. What I do on day 1 is I go on my iPad, but you can do this on paper, really anything. I used to do it on paper, but it's a lot easier to do it on an iPad or something like that, just because you can have it all in one place and erase stuff and work through it. And I will song map the first 5 songs. That's it. I'll just put the name of the song, and I'll show you what this looks like right now. Okay. So, this is, some recent work I did for a wedding, but you'll understand the gist. Let's pretend these are the first 5 songs on that list. It's day 1. I will write the name of the song. So, Old Man, it's honestly hard to read my own handwriting. One Man Band, Old Dominion. I'll write the key of the song, so F sharp major. I'll write intro, chorus, verse, chorus, solo / bridge, and double chorus or down chorus. And the way that I song map is I will listen to the first song. Usually I honestly won't even have my bass in my hands. I'll be either watching a YouTube video that like someone's playing bass and I can see what they're doing. And I song map in the Nashville number system. So if I know I'm in F sharp major, I'll just write the numbers. So the 4 to the 5 to this is really up for interpretation. A lot of people just have their own chicken scratch way. Whoops. How do we get it? Okay. A lot of people have their own chicken scratch way of song mapping. There's no like right way to do this. The main thing is just making sure that I song map the 5 songs. And the key thing here too is I'm not trying to memorize these songs. Once I song map song 1, I don't need to go crazy. Move on to the next one. Song map that second one. Move on to the third one. Song map that one. Fourth one and fifth one. Let's pretend those are the 5. The goal here is not memorization. Whoops, my hand was kind of dragging there. Bear with me again. That is the goal of this step. Something to note here too is that if there's songs that have like riffs in them, whether you play like guitar or bass, like I play bass, right? So if there's a song that has a riff in it, it's hard to note that. I'll just make sure I play through the riff and understand what it is, what it sounds like. Again, no need to memorize at this point. Once those songs are song mapped, now we move on to step 8. This is what I do next. Now that they're song mapped, I know that they're there. This is another step that allows me to breathe, relax. I know that I did my work for the day in terms of like song mapping. I know it's there for good. I can go back to it. But now I'll actually like play through them along to the Spotify or the Ableton. If it's chopped up, it'll be in Ableton. If it's the full song, it'll be in Spotify. If it's in a different key, I'll also do it in Ableton too, so I can move the key of the song. Again, that's a whole other video, but that's a pretty easy thing to play around with. And then what I like to do here is play through each song once, looking at the song maps, making sure they make sense to me. So like if I need to look at them or kind of go back to look at them, like making sure that I can read it. Again, that's really all that matters. Like it doesn't matter if I can pass it to someone else and they read it. It could be in your own chicken scratch, whatever. Once I play through them and get through them good enough, again, there's going to be mistakes, missed parts. I try not to get hung up on that. Then I will once play through all the songs and try not to look. The reason I do this is just a quick little test to see where I'm at with certain songs. Usually like 2 or 3 of them I'll be good for the most part. Maybe I'll miss little sections, bridges, hits. Like there's something that happens when I go from looking at the iPad to just looking away, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm actually like having to recall all the information that has been laid out in a bunch of different places for me already. When I look away, now I'm going to be able to see like, okay, what are the trouble areas? And now that's part of this step where I'm going to go in and be like, okay, like in You Shook Me All Night Long, like I'm missing the syncopations in the chorus or whatever. Could be anything. I'm not playing that riff correctly, or maybe I should play that with a pick or finger style. And that's where I'll like note things like that in those song maps. And that's all I do for day 1. Now, let's pretend it's day 2. So that's it. And again, like for me, this might be like a hot take, but for me, once I do that, I want to relax. Like I don't if I'm in the mood to listen to the songs, and yeah, I'll listen to them or keep practicing, but like the big thing about learning for me, again, what I found to help me is when I'm learning a ton of songs like this, I don't want to like overkill it. I don't want to kill myself going nuts for hours and hours a day, because that will burn me out. It has burned me out. I've learned from that. I try to just give myself a little bit of rest, because you'll see in step 9 why. I'll jump into step 9. It'll make more sense. So let's pretend it's day 2. What I do to start off day 2 is before I even start mapping the next 5 songs, I will just play through and try to look away from the notes, the 5 songs that I learned the day before. Again, the goal here is not perfection. What you'll see is that each day that passes, all the songs that I've mapped, I'm going to be practicing. So I don't need to memorize these songs the first time that I map them or the first time that I look away from the iPad. It's just building that muscle and repetition. And what's helped me a lot is trying to look away, taking a break, come back to it the next morning, take my notes. So if it's day 2, I'm going through day 1's songs. Maybe I'm glancing at the iPad, but I'm really trying to look away and activate that part of my brain that's like trying to recall the information. If I'm really struggling with something, like I'll work it out. Maybe I'll go back to YouTube if I can't remember like the lick or something like that. But again, the key is for me to not get hung up here in this step as well, because I have 5 more songs to map that day. Like, I don't have time to really get stumped on that. And I'm going to be practicing those songs pretty much every day moving forward. There's no need to, go nuts on that. After I go through those songs, I'd repeat the last step, but now for day 2. So I'd move on to the next 5. Again, just map them one by one. The goal is not memorization for me. Then I'll play through them once, looking at the iPad. Okay, make sure that I can play along. All right, kind of take note of, I'm really not getting that section. Try to look away, play through it once for day 2 songs. Okay, you get the gist now. This is the momentum that I'm building, and that's what's going to carry through the rest of the days that I'm learning. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing the first 3/4 of the time that I have available. Like I said, for me it was a month, but if I have a week, it would be the first 4 or 5 days. But we would have already done that math. I know what I need to do, how many days I have to do it. So that's the gist on that. I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out. To end day 2, what I try to do is run the 10 songs total now. As you can imagine, that works for like the first week, because day 3, I would have 15 songs. Day 4, I'd have 20. Day 5, 25, so on and so forth. This will snowball to a point where, let's say on day, let's pick a day. Was that 12? 12 times 5. Wow, I can't be that bad. 60? I would have gone through 60 songs, right? Like, I'm probably not going to be doing 60 songs every day. What I start to do is create set lists now as I go further through this journey, which I believe is part of step 9 here. Yeah. So anyways, the way that I do this, I'll show you on the computer. And I kind of already did it, is like, I'll usually break it up into 2 or 3 set lists. So like, at about song 30, I'll cut it off there. The next 30 songs I'll have grouped together like that. And the last 30 I'll have grouped together like that. And what I'll start to do as I go through each day is I'll move songs around. Usually what I do is the first set list, the first third or half, depending on how many songs, I will make the easy set list. So songs that I can pretty much already play without looking at an iPad or a song map or something like that. And I'll usually have them highlighted like in green. So for instance, if this was my easy set list, I'd go like this. I would make them all green, like this. And it would look like that. Let's say I'm 2 weeks in, I'm 3 weeks in, and I've song mapped all these, and this is my more challenging set list. Then maybe I make this one yellow. So I know, okay, like a stoplight, right? Like, okay, this one needs a little work. And then as I'm, going through and getting to the end of this calendar, let's say it's like day 21, right? At that point, I would have song mapped all of these songs and had been practicing these sets in an alternating way. Like, so for instance, on the pretty much like the end of week 2 and then going into week 3, as I'm continuing to song map 5 a day, what I'm doing then each day is practicing one of these sets. It's probably going to be the more challenging or the most challenging set. I'm probably not going to be practicing the green set list because I already know them pretty well. I'll definitely take a look at it sometimes and run it once every couple of days. But the majority of the sets that I'm going to be running now daily are going to be the yellow, or the, if I made the last one red, it would be that one. So that's how I do that, so that I'm not practicing like 70 songs a day. And that helps me in that way. So step number 10. Once that first 3/4 of like my learning journey is done and all the songs are mapped, I know that I have maps for all of them. I kind of have a gist on which songs might be problem areas, which songs I have down pat. I have a good feel for that. This last week is left open, or the last quarter of time. It could be a day, depending on the timeline that you have. It could be a half a day. It could be a couple of hours. It could be 3 days. Whatever it is, right? This is all relative. For me, it was a week. This is like my rehearsal week now that I'm um, treating every day like I'm going through the songs that I really need to work on, running the set lists that have problems, working out kinks. And usually the way that I break this up is I will do the whole show, if I can, and time allows, each day. The reason I do that is so that by the last 2 to 3 days, I have it down pat so well that I'm not even looking at iPads, I'm not looking at song maps, I'm not looking at anything. And something else I like to do as I'm going through these days is performing while I'm standing up and I'm looking around. So once I'm not looking at the iPad, I like to stand up, walk around, because I'm sure if you're watching this, for me at least, when I go from sitting and looking at an iPad to standing up and walking around, I start missing notes and I'm like, oh, okay. I start to make corrections in that way. So I like to do those at home instead of making those mistakes on stage. So if I can get that out now, that's great. I like to do that during that learning phase. That's pretty much step 10. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. Um, and yeah, the whole thing is like, the if I have it pretty much broken out at this point to songs that I really know down pat, songs that I feel pretty good about, and then there's usually a couple of problem songs or problem riffs or problem areas. At this point, it's really important for me to focus on the problem areas and the kind of in the middle songs. I definitely will touch on the easier stuff, just to make sure like I'm good with it. But this time is really for like refinement, going back and making sure I understand everything, and just I can get to so that I can get to a point where I'm not looking at anything and I can walk around and play the song. Again, it's all relative. This is like that last quarter of time. And the whole point of all of this, again, is that as this is all visually in one place that I can see and I'm checking things off and turning things from yellow to green as I'm feeling better about them, the more that my mind, the more I guess like at peace I feel. I'm like, it feels like I'm accomplishing something. I think a mistake I used to make, and I see a lot of musicians make, is they don't do all of these things. And so they're thinking about it all the time. They're listening to these songs. They're trying to remember which one had the verse and bridge, what key was that one in. For me, that's a complete nightmare. Complete nightmare. It used to drive me nuts. Now I'm doing less. It's way more organized. Is it neurotic? For sure. It's a lot in that way, a lot of preparation, but it sticks so much better. It's like sharpening the axe so that I only have to swing it a couple of times instead of swinging a dull axe 100 times. It's way more exhausting when learning songs for me. There's one more step that I do, but I just really like it makes it so much easier for me to do it like this, in this way. Um, the last thing is the day of the gig. Once that time comes around, even if you're not feeling like, I remember like I was second guessing myself. I was very nervous, like the most nervous I've ever been, because this was my first professional environment that I was playing in. I went from playing in 5 cover bands that only did 30-minute sets, for like $50 and just for a couple beer tickets and stuff like that, to playing in like a professional environment. And my first gig was at a casino. Um, there was a good amount of people there. I met the whole, no, I didn't meet the whole band for the first time, but it's my first time really playing with them. No rehearsal. Show up, know the stuff. You can imagine I'm nervous. The big thing on the day of the gig for me is to just trust everything, let loose, and have fun. Because at this point, I've prepared as well as I can. If I'm going to miss something, it's going to happen. Like, but I think I only made 2 or 3 mistakes in terms of like little song structure stuff. I think I like something with like a half step up in a certain set. It doesn't matter, whatever. But for learning 94 songs in a month, the any reasonable person is going to understand that you're going to make a certain amount of mistakes. I think making 2 or 3 mistakes in my first gig, playing in a completely new environment, playing like 4 hours in a casino, that's about as good as that I can ask. That's about as good that I can ask for, at least. Um, and that's really it. That's what I do every time I have to learn new songs. Uh, some people will watch this and be like, "This guy's nuts." Yeah, no, I am for sure, definitely nuts. But I'll tell you what, it works for me. Um, like I still do this when we have weddings that come up, and a lot of times people will put in requests last minute, or like if we have 3 weddings coming up in the next 2 weeks, there's usually like 15 to 20 songs that I have to learn and show up to practice knowing in 4 days, 5 days, something like that. I do this every time. Step by step, I do it just like this. And I always go in feeling confident. I'm not driving myself nuts listening to the songs all the time. It puts my mind at ease. And now I'm at a point where I really trust what I'm doing. And, most of the time I'm not making egregious mistakes. If anything, it's just like playing mistakes and missing a note, which that's just practice. That's not this kind of stuff. So that's really it. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, just because I'm sure that there is someone out there. I wish I knew this, going into this environment. I kind of just made this up and it worked for me. So if you're ever in a pinch and you need to learn a bunch of songs and you feel like you're stressing yourself out too much, hopefully you could watch this and, take some of the stuff that I talked about and get yourself, like, I really feel like you owe it to yourself to not drive yourself nuts and constantly bombard yourself with these Spotify playlists, and while you're running, while you're driving, while you're eating breakfast, like that stuff's, it's good, but I think this is much more important for things sticking, and doing it in this order from steps 1 through 11 has always allowed me to do this and then go enjoy my day, which I think is very important for mental health. It's really challenging on the mind to learn a bunch of songs in a short amount of time. But this definitely helps me not burn out from it. So hope this helps. This is YouTube, right? So subscribe if, do whatever you want. If you like it, that's great. If you subscribe, that's cool too. If you don't, I get it. It's all good. I'm on Instagram at GCJams also. I make a lot of silly videos there. And I still don't know how to end these. So this is going to be the end. I'm going to get up and stop the video now. Thanks for watching.